for this webinar. My name is Tiziana Cervesato, and I'm the Director of Events at the Italian Cultural Center of Minneapolis, St. Paul. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting Italian language and culture in the Twin Cities and Minnesota. And today we are presenting the series Il Salotto degli Artisti, a peek into Italian art studios, with our first episode with artist Pietro Desirò and Brunella Baldi from the art gallery Cartavetra, based in Florence. This series is curated by Giulia Angeli and Zoe Cinel and presented in partnership with Global Minnesota. Global Minnesota is also a nonprofit located in the Twin Cities. And it's an organization that connects individuals, organizations, and communities to the world. And I invite you to visit their website, globalminnesota.org, to learn more. Giulia Angeli is an art historian living in Florence, in Italy. After graduating in early modern art at the University of Florence, she moved to Bologna, where she earned a Master of Arts in iconography of Renaissance Italian painting from the University of Bologna. Her research is focused on late medieval and Renaissance Tuscany, a rich and fascinating field where beauty cannot be separated by craft techniques. She works in Florence municipal museums, and she's a licensed tour leader. Originally from Florence, Italy, Zoe Cinel is an associate curator at the Rochester Art Center and an interdisciplinary artist. Her work has been exhibited in venues such as the Minneapolis Institute of Arts and the Walker Art Center. Zoe is also a member of the artist collective Carry On Homes, focusing on immigrant stories, public art and social engagement. And she's also an educator and has taught at the Italian Cultural Center, the Carleton College, and the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. So please keep yourselves muted during the presentation. You will find the mute button in the lower left corner of your screen, and you can use the speaker view that you will find on the upper right corner of your screen. The presentation will last about 45 minutes. And after there will be a 15-minute Q&A session. But please, from the start, feel free to enter your questions in the chat box that you will find at the bottom of your screen.
You just got muted, actually. We lost...
All right, there, I'm back. Thank you, Pietro. And so one last information, we are recording this presentation, and that's it for the housekeeping rules. Thank you again for being with us today. And now I will give the floor to Zoe.
Thank you, Tiziana, and for the great introduction. And thank you to the Italian Cultural Center for partnering with us. Giulia and I are truly honored for the opportunity to develop this series of artist talk and to connect Italian artists and labs in Florence with the Minnesota international audience. So before we start, for the English-speaking audience, who knows what salotto means in Italian? And if you have an idea of that, we want to hear from you. You can drop your answer in the chat. So when we were thinking about this series, Giulia and I wanted to create a space that was familiar, welcoming, and informal. And we came out with the idea of the virtual salotto, because as many of us know, have experienced Italian culture from Italy, the living room in Italy is actually the place where family and friends gather together and share meals and stories, and it's where we have fun. So our Salotto degli Artisti is a chance to discover more about contemporary art and craft in Italy. And every month, starting with August to October, we will meet with different artists and labs working in the most diverse media and techniques. And those will range from traditional printing techniques to more experimental art forms such as sound design. And our focus for this series is Florence. And, you know, raise your hand, like raise your Zoom hand if you know how to do it. If you have been to Florence already, or if you're like living there. And so we know that Florence is the home of Renaissance and art and architecture, right? But it's much more than that. It's a vibrant place where many artists translate traditional artistic techniques into visual languages and do really, really interesting things nowadays. And today we're here with one of those artists and a representative from one of the spaces who are very active in the contemporary art scene in Florence. So it's with great joy and that we welcome artists Pietro Desirò and Brunella Baldi from Cartavetra. And I'm gonna leave Giulia introduce them. And thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Zoe, for introducing the project. Founded in 2015 in Florence, Cartavetra is a vibrant polyfunctional art center open to artists and visitors who want to challenge the understanding of contemporary art. As an art gallery, it showcases artists working with a wide range of media, including painting, sculpture, engraving, drawing, and performance. It also hosts artistic residencies and workshops. Cartavetra strives to create a strong, powerful connection between artists and audience, with the ultimate goal of turning the gallery into a lively cultural environment. So, Brunella, tell us about the gallery. When was it funded and why?
Okay, first, thank you for everybody for inviting us. And so Cartavetra was founded in 2015 by a group of artists, because for us it was very important to try to have a new approach to the contemporary art. And over the years, the structure of a founder has changed. And now it's me and Pietro to take care and to organize all the gallery. And yes, we founded Cartavetra to try to create a new approach, a new way to enjoying art.
A new space. A new space that
a new
we're in
space,
Florence.
Yeah, because Florence is very famous. It's a city famous for the Renaissance art. And so it's not too easy to propose and to work with contemporary art. But we like to
push the boundaries of what we can do in Florence.
And so normally we organize 5 or 6 exhibitions in a year, and is a solo exhibition or sometimes with 2 different artists. And so, for example, this is the first exhibition when we opened the gallery in October 2015. And sometimes, for example, in this moment, we have a collective exhibition. And of course, we need to involve the public. And so we organize events, meeting with the artists, like in this photo, you see Stefano Ricci during a performance and with a musician. And so it's very important to involve the audience.
Yeah, because we also wanted to change the way people feel about gallery, because usually galleries, it's a white space where you kind of are afraid to get in. And so the idea of doing many different events inside an exhibition is also to get different audience from different events and a bit to become a more lively place, because we have a door on the streets, and sometimes you see people that just look at inside, and they're kind of afraid to get into a gallery because they think maybe I have to pay or something, and so it's important to involve them.
Yeah, and finally, Cartavetra is like a Salotto. And
we did the Salotto degli Artisti
event.
Yeah,
also
Cocomero Artist. It's a watermelon with the
artist. So something like this, just for create interesting around the art, the contemporary art. Yeah.
But as we said, Cartavetra it's not only a gallery, it's also a laboratory. So can you tell us more about this part, so the activity in the lab?
Yeah, the laboratory is very important. It's a big part of a gallery, and also it's the difference about our gallery and the other gallery, because we organize lesson, workshop, artist residence, because for us it's very interesting, very important to see the artist at work. And so finally the space is a place for work, for sharing, for exhibit the work, the artist's work. And I think it's a way to...
It's interesting.
Very
because,
interesting.
Yeah, you see the artwork that starts from nothing, then at the end, you see the process of the work in progress, and then you exhibit it. So from a more creative start to, at the end, the work, you have to exhibit, you have to place on the wall, and it's completely different from when it started. And so this is also, you see artwork and then the payoff, when...
Yeah, it's also a way and the artist can be closer to people, because it's more easy to understand the way to work, to arrive, to do a work. Because sometimes it's very far away, no? It
seems far away, yeah.
So, this is the laboratory.
And as is in the gallery, if there is an artist working and the gallery is open, people get in and they can just stumble into the artist's work and ask, "Oh, what are you doing? Can I see?" And they just sometimes mesmerize and watch, especially with the press, with the printing press, that most of people don't really know how it works. So they see someone using it, they say, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah, I think it's for the pastry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very fascinating for people to see an artist actually working. So I think it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. No, okay. This is a fair. You'll see the last year we participate 3 fair, international fair. This is in Lugano, and the first one was in Verona, because it's also very, very important to promote the artists and the work for the gallery. And also,
Florence is not it's not really easy, gallery speaking. So you have to go outside. You have to.
This is in Torino for the others, another fair, alternative fair. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Brunella and Pietro, for sharing about Cartavetra and the work that you do. it's truly like an important presence on the territory for like contemporary art. And they're located like next to, you know, like they're located in the center of Florence, next to Palazzo Pitti, for who knows that. So it's a really interesting place.
From outdoor actually we see
just in front.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe now we want to hear a little bit from Pietro. And as mentioned, one of Cartavetra's founders, Pietro Desirò, is also a practicing and prolific artist. And so we're really excited that he could join us today and talk about his work. A little bit about Pietro. So he's an artist based in Florence. He graduated from Il Bisonte, where he studied digital, traditional, graphic, and printmaking techniques. And he attended the Akademie der Bildenden Künste Wien. I hope I said that not too bad. You know, it's true. Yeah, maybe you want to just say that again, like.
Well, my German is probably worse than yours, so.
Great.
This is the Academy of Fine Art, but I was there for an Erasmus program actually. So my academy studies a bit strange, because usually people go first to the Academy of Fine Art, then they go to Bisonte, which is more specialized in specialized school with printmaking. And I did the opposite. I went first to Bisonte, then I went to the Academy of Fine Arts, and then through that I did an Erasmus program in Vienna, which was actually great. It was a changing point of my work, because you know, Florence is traditional. It's very traditional, and if you're studying printmaking, that's even more traditional, because if you don't know the techniques, you can't really do much about it. But so that was kind of my study background. And
and then in 2015 you co-founded Cartavetra, and you also exhibited work there in several like group and solo exhibition, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we opened together with other artists, and it was quite great for me, because I got the chance to know a lot of people and to learn from them. And before actually exhibiting in Cartavetra, it took a while, because of course once we started, I was eager to do stuff and help around, but my work wasn't really there yet. But thanks to all these times and meeting people, we got what was I saying? Anyway, yeah, it's we opened in 2015, and I think Cartavetra was quite influential to my work, because as I said, we organized the exhibition, we follow the project, we pair artists together, you watch the work, you select it, and then you find a way to set up the work, which is always different from exhibition to exhibition. So I really learned a lot through this time, and I got some very nice influence by different artists, and it also allowed me to meet a lot of contemporary printmaker that I would have never had the chance to meet them otherwise. And also the fact that we organized workshop with artists that we invite, I take part of them, because I'm here, I organize it, and we have the space and and so on. But yeah, it's also the other thing which I think it's I was quite lucky with opening Cartavetra and also being an artist, is that I got the chance to see kind of the double side of the artwork. Because you have an artist, and an artist needs to know how to relate to a gallery, and the fact that you see both aspects of it, you can you have insight about, and it's helpful. It's quite helpful, because
because the most difficult is the relationship with the artist.
The most difficult thing is relating with artists, because we are first ladies, and we can be very difficult. And it's a nice process. And also I learned how to set up my work, which is not something which is quite easy, you produce your work, but you have to think of, okay, where I'm going to exhibit it, how I'm gonna showcase it, and the fact that you know, used to handle different type of works, and okay, this is the space, we can do that. It's a nice exercise. You know, you combine works together, and it's stimulating. And well, you can scroll down. So the picture that you saw, it's a press. It's not the press that we have in the gallery. We have another studio with a smaller press. And over here you have a few. Yeah, let's see that. You have some, say, sample of my works. And as I said before, first I was more, let's say, traditional printmaking, because you need to know how to work with techniques. You know, you have different type of plates and different type of acid, or different way to approach this medium, both in the printing phase and in the etching phase. And before it was, you know, quite more traditional. You know, was doing like creatures and fishes and stuff. But the main focus was always the mark making behind these creatures. And after a while, I had the need to abstract it and make it the subject of my work, this mark making. And this happened when I went to Vienna, because over there it was already blowing up, these things. But over there I got in touch with this way of doing graphic art, which is very gestual, is that the word? Maybe, gestuale. And it's very free. It's not the mark making. It become the subjects, become a way to express a feeling or sensation or something like that. And for me, I also had the need to, in a way, bring printmaking to a different level. Because printmaking is such a beautiful medium, but sadly, most of the people, I'm not saying this because people shouldn't do that, but most of the people that get stuck to the techniques, and they do, you know, the little landscape or little drawings printed with the usual frames, they do edition and but it's such a powerful medium that for many years it kind of got stuck in a second, like art B, let's say. But it can be very, very powerful medium, because the fact that you have a plate that you can produce multiple, and that multiple can become many different things, it allows you to, you know, to explore a lot. Which painting is, you know, you have the brush and you have that's it. With printmaking, you can do painting with printmaking. You can do almost everything if you allow yourself. I did installation with printmaking, I did animation with printmaking. And it's actually not just me. There's many artists around the world which are trying to give a different value to this medium. And one of these values is also the fact that you can do, you know, unique pieces, because most of the people, you know, do edition like 20, 50, 80 copies of the same work, but right now we don't have really the market for that. And even in the year there was a lot of speculation about the people, you know, say edition of 20, but then there was around 80 copies, and of course for the market that's not great. And the fact also that, and now many artists as myself are making the opposite. You know, you're making just one work that's unique, and so that's also have, you know, different value. And yeah, I'm, you know, experimenting a lot. What you're saying is it was an exhibition that we had here in the gallery, and I started to do these cubes because if you scroll down, there's another picture of it. And so I had a lot of these little plates, 10 by 10 centimeters, I'm not sure in inches. And before it was like a modular jellyfish, and it actually looked like tiles from a bathroom. So I continued working on this plate, and they became something more abstract. And they were squares, so I thought, what can I do with a square? And the immediate thought was, you know, the classical cross to build a cube. And from that, I started to build up this cube one on top of each other. And this is just a way to displace them, but then I also did like sculpture all bind together. And then after that, I wasn't just satisfied with the 3D. I also wanted animation. I also wanted for prints to move. And you can see there is these two bigger square, and inside there is two animation. Maybe we can send you a link afterwards with those. And I think also animation is quite interesting to experiment with printmaking, because it's if you go to the origin of animation, to carry out animation, it's basically pieces of paper that you move. You take a frame and you move the piece of paper. And with printmaking, you have, it's you do different copy of the same images, so it's quite. You can use it if you experiment to move it around and do animation with it. It's I think it's a fun medium to combine. Not easy, it's a lot of time consuming, both printmaking and animation. But it can come out some nice result. I once saw this Chinese artist, and she was working on the plate, scratching it, printing it, taking a shot, then scratching again, and so on. And so this the plate was changed through time through the animation, and yeah, I kind of got lost. And well, yeah, that's what else can I say?
This is maybe I can help you here. This is like a super interesting and like rich. I think you said like so many things about being an artist and working with traditional techniques, especially in a place like Florence, right? So I wonder, maybe you want to talk a little bit about like what it is to like live with this tradition and like making contemporary work with such a traditional kind of environment and cultural background, right? And also
it's a lot of it's a lot of baggage to carry around. I mean, it's I'm quite grateful to have been born here in Florence, because you grew up with a lot of beauty around you, and I think it's shown in my work. I mean, it influenced me a lot, but at the same time, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because yeah, Florence, it's getting, there is a vibrant scene, but at the same time there isn't, and that's because the mentality of people from Florence and also from the government of Florence is not really helping with it, because we already have this stuff. We already have art, because it was year from the Renaissance, and we make money out of it because we have tourism and so on. But it's it's a presence which it's quite heavy, because you don't have you always have to. It's always there anyway, and you don't have the influence that you have in a more contemporary city, because the only exhibition that we get, I mean, not only, actually, we also have contemporary exhibition, but most of the museum are, Renaissance and stuff like that. Now it's getting better. Now it's getting a little bit better, but for me, it's a bit sad. Florence made its name because people believed in art. At that time, it was contemporary art, and we made our name with this by innovation and making cultural improvement and poetry or whatever, but and right now people don't really think that way. Florence could be a place where you can experiment and create new stuff, everything, but we are kind of stuck in the Renaissance. And so what we're doing with Cartavetra and many other people that are artists and are working in Florence, they always have to relate to that, to find ways to bring something new to Florence, which is not easy. And I think a situation like this, the one that we are having right now, it's quite important, because most of the people come to Florence just to see, Michelangelo or other artists, other works. But there is different realities in Florence, and so people from Florence, in order to make something happen, needs to go outside and create different relationships, so that people then know that Florence is a place where you can create stuff, you can create art again. Because we have we have many schools, because through COVID, most of them closed down, but they're also quite traditional. So, it's a lot, but anyway, I always say Florence is the city to go back to, because it's very beautiful, and so it's if you take the time to appreciate, because while you live in a place, you don't you can get you lose the aspect of the beauty of Florence. And so if you step down a little bit and you say, okay, wow, this is beautiful, this is and but yeah, I'm sure it was quite influential for me. If I were born in another part of the world, in another city, probably I would have turned out completely different. And yeah.
No, of course, Florence is very famous for the Renaissance, but it's not only this. And sure, we have a lot of new situation, but you need to discover. It's not the first things when you think you speak about Florence. It's the big art, the Renaissance, the big church, but there are a lot of
there are a lot of small realities. But I think a problem with Florence is that Florentine people always kind of think of their self. Art is something that needs to be shared, and if you bring all galleries together to an event or something like that, it would bring a lot more interest from the government and the public. But sadly, there's many realities in Florence, as Brunella said, but they are not connected.
Yeah.
We try sometimes to organize exhibition or events with other galleries, but it's very difficult, and that's, I think, the problem is because the way we are, Florentine people, because we are very I think close, I have my shop, and my shop is my shop, we are a bit like that. Sadly. But also, for printmaking, there is so many studios, there is so many printmakers in Florence, and it's so weird, because printmaking actually brings people together, because you need a press, you need a space. But at the same time, I have my space where I do printmaking, then there is the place next door, but there's no communication. It's quite weird, I know. But Florence could be, I think it's changing now, but it could be something quite more, powerful for art creation. But we'll see. We're doing our best, and I think many people are doing the same. And
Thank you. I think you raised so many good points, and some of the reasons why Giulia and I decided to do this kind of series of lectures, because we exactly, living or being from the area, we exactly know that contemporary art is not the reason why people go to Florence, but it should be part of it, right? So I'm really glad that you bring that up. But we have a little video of that Pietro created to show his artistic process, which I think for people that are not artists and don't have access to this kind of backstage processes might be really interesting to see. So maybe you can guide us through a little bit of what happens in this video.
Okay. As you play it, I'll talk about it.
I'm gonna stop sharing this and I'm gonna share the other one. So sorry if it takes a second, everyone.
So for those who don't really have a clear idea of how printmaking works, Basically, you have a plate, which can be of many different materials. Any materials bring its own characteristic. And you etch the plate either directly or by the use of acid. And after doing the etching part, you put ink all over the plate where now I'm preparing it. And then exactly where now I'm moving the ink all around the plate and pushing it into all the etch marks that I made. And with this, I even push them further. Then after that, you have to clean the, let's say, the extra ink, and so that the ink, the drawing or whatever you did, it's only exactly. See, everything is kind of clean, and there is the lines that are quite dark because there's ink in it. And actually, at this moment, while you clean the plate, one print can be completely different from the other, and depending on how you clean it. Anyway, after that, you put it in the press with some paper on top of it, and the paper needs to be wet actually, because while you wet it, it becomes more elastic, and this, with the pressure of the press, the paper goes deep into the cut and takes out the ink. And yeah, the basic of printmaking is this: you have an image that you carve into some metal or whatever, and you ink it up, print it, and that's it, kind of. But there's different ways to do everything, because even from the paper, every different kind of paper gets different kind of results, also depending from what kind of plate you're using. If you're using copper or zinc or Tetra Pak or whatever, you get different results. Like traditionally, people use copper or zinc, but it's I mean, copper is beautiful. It's very beautiful. You get some really thin line, and I love doing lines. But I use also regular item to print. I use tea bags. You ink it up. It has a texture. Everything that has a texture that can go through a press, you can print it. You can even print a fish. I heard stories which are a nightmare for printmaker, that someone inked up a fish and put it under the press, and then the workshop was all stinking. But yeah, it's you can print those on fabric or anything actually. And yeah, the process is that. But I didn't show the etching process. As I told you before, you have different, like, two main, let's say, way of approaching a plate. There is the direct way and the indirect. The direct way use different dry point or burin to directly carve the metal yourself or the plate that you are etching. And the indirect way use acid. And also there is many different ways of going. You can either dip the plate into the acid and have it, carve just some part that you didn't cover, or you can just paint the plate with the acid, and it will bite the metal. Or yeah, and but that's actually the first part of my work, because after that I work on the paper a lot, or sometimes I cut it out and glue it out in different ways, depending on what I want to do. But yeah, after the prints, I go further, because sometimes I like to draw or put some monotype on it, or maybe even after a few months I have a print, maybe I should do some more work on it, and I put it under the press again, and something completely different come out, because that's also part of the way I work. Because I have these usually plates, you, as I said before, you do drawing on it, you do the etching, then you print it, you do edition, and that's it. My plates are, coming with me from 3-4 years. most of my plates, because they're alive. I etch them, I print them, and then I etch them again. Now they're completely different, and I combine them, and then I etch them again, I print them again, I print them again. So they're always mutating in time, and I think that's interesting way to do printmaking, because you can see also the process of printed it 3 years ago. There's little lines that you can still see in a print that I do, this day. But they are, different works. And yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your process. We also have more contents, more video that Pietro shared with us. And at the end of the talk, we are happy to share with you, so you can watch Pietro's process again, and also take a closer look to Cartavetra and Pietro's work. But maybe
I think I sent you also one where there's some acid working. It's bad.
Yeah, there's a few other interesting one of when Pietro was talking about also his animation work, how it mixed with printmaking. But maybe since we're 12:15, we want to leave, or 7:15 initially. Yeah, I have to convert.
Yeah, it's 7:15 right now.
Maybe we want to leave the stage for a little bit of questions from the audience. If somebody has questions from the chat.
It's not in the chat. So, okay, no. Oh. It's the private chat.
Okay.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah,
have you been inspired by any particular artist when you started printmaking, or?
Actually, not really. I mean, I have, especially while changing the way I work, I became in contact with the contemporary printmaker that I really admire. While starting, no, I don't think so. I mean, I see resemblance of my work in other artists, or in, let's say, style of work. And I've been told, and I see there's a lot of say Asian influence, I think, in some work, and the more figurative that actually it is, so it's more Bosch-like, different humanoid creatures, stuff like that. But I have deep respect for some few contemporary artists, printmaker artists, which one of them is Gabriella Locci. We did also a few exhibitions with her here. And yeah, it's actually one of the first images of the Cartavetra PDF. There is a big work of her. And she's a very, very strong artist from Sardinia. Her and Gabriella and her husband, they founded Casa Falconieri, which is an amazing center for experimentation of printmaking. They do a lot of work combining printmaking with photography, installation, artist book, yeah. And so she's, was quite inspirational. And also, while I was doing this transition between more figurative work or more abstract work, there is this German artist. She doesn't do printmaking, she does drawings. Her name is Jorinde Voigt. You should check her out, amazing work. And yeah, I think that's about it. And also another big influence was Pavlo Makov. You should check him out. He's an amazing Ukrainian artist. And his way of approaching printmaking is amazing. He does these little tiles of
big.
Yeah, like small houses, small little trees, and then he prints thousands of them in a big piece of paper, and he creates this huge landscape. quite heavy stuff actually, because he's from Ukrainian, and you can see the background of his history in his work. But at the same time, it's mesmerizing. You get lost.
Yeah, and we invite a lot of printmaker to exhibit in Cartavetra. But for us, this is very important, the approach to the work. So we are not interested in edition work, because it's not interesting. But this kind of research is very, very important. Yeah.
So, as you said, how do you select artists to exhibit in Cartavetra?
Good question.
Whatever we like.
Yeah.
That's
first we have to like the work. And of course, it's also like poetry, no? Yes, it's we know the artist in the fair or in another exhibition, and we start approach with the artist, because in these 5 years I understand big things. Is very important also the relationship, the human part for the artist, because sometimes the work is fantastic, but the artist is very heavy. It's terrible. It's impossible to organize something, and so. But first, I need to like the work. Yeah,
and
it's very personal, unfortunately, but.
And sometimes you like the work of an artist, and but you're not able to do an exhibition to him, because time is limited and the space is limited. But after a year or two, say, do you remember him? He could go great with these other artists, and so then you combine them together in an exhibition. And we like that also. We do a lot of two-artist show, because it's interesting to create different dialogue, even if they seem apparently completely different, that they could not communicate to each other. But we see something that brings them together and say, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, and also it's interesting to go to do the studio visit and to understand if the artists have a lot of work to exhibit, because sometimes we go in a studio visit and not all the work are good, are fine, and so we need to see a lot of work and to choose this or this for the space, for a lot of for our idea to the exhibition. So
it's I think also it's very important to see an artist's works through the years, I think.
Yeah.
And this is not to discourage, of course, younger artists, because I'm one of them actually. But you see someone through in a couple of years, and you see the process, the way where it's going. Because sometimes people think, okay, I've done this picture, it's beautiful. Okay, I want to do this. No. Maybe I want to see something more, because not all artists are quite critical about their work, and so it's important to see what's behind everything. I think there is a question.
Yes, there is a question. So
a COVID question. All right.
Yes. For everyone, so what is the experience for you being able to see work in person again, and are you getting out? So about COVID.
Yeah.
That's the main topic today. So
Cartavetra was closed.
Yeah, it was closed for
2 months.
2 months and a half.
2 months and a half. And when we decided to open after the lockdown, we decided to organize a new exhibition. So to organize the opening and all the things. And it was incredible because normally I'm very happy to the idea to have a lot of people come to visit for the opening.
Yeah, this time we were quite anxious about it. Because
but it was fantastic to see people face the work. And someone said,
finalmente si vive, finally we live again.
Finally, yeah, and I think it's very important to see directly the work.
But we do not really have a directive on how to behave in this situation. Like, we did the opening, but we didn't really know what we could do in terms of how many people. And so usually our opening start at 6:30, and so we decided to do early one. But people came less than the usual. Usually our opening are quite packed of people, but still people came and they were happy. They were okay, I'm going out and going to this exhibition. That's it was very nice after months of just browsing art through Instagram or whatever.
Tom has another question. Thank you, Tom. He's asking if you have any artist talk or dialogue around the exhibitions.
Yes, we organize talk with the artists during the exhibition, but not during the opening. Because during our opening, there are a lot of people. It's a very big Salotto.
It's a big Salotto,
big
yes.
Salotto. And so everybody come and speak and but we like a lot to organize a meeting with the artists, and we talk a lot about art.
Process and the thought behind the work, but usually it's a separate event from the opening.
Yeah,
opening it's more, it's
also
more
because
it's more
in the opening normally there are a lot of people, but after the opening the audience shut down. So it's important to maintain this attention. So we organize a lot of things during during
the time of the exhibition, because it's usually it's for 2 months and a half, and so you do the opening and maybe you do an event at the end, but in the middle we want to organize other things so that people can come and see the events and see the exhibition again. So one of these is a talk with the artist. Sometimes it can be a 72-hour show in one of the room with a completely different artist, and so it's very important to communicate with people and to have artists communicate with the public. And I think also in the opening, it's the way we do them. They're quite informal, so anyone can go up to the artist and speak with him. And many times after the opening, we also organize a big dinner with artists and friends who remain, and
we eat together. Sometimes also here in the gallery.
We have a big table, many chairs, so people pull them up. We organize a pasta or something.
Thank you. Well, I think we are all looking for the time where we can do that again safely and
you're not alone.
Right? In Minnesota and like in Italy too. That's I think a common thing. And especially as like an Italian community, we just like to be with other people all the time, right? That's something that we have in common.
Our opening have wines and some food because you talk, you get a glass of wine. It's it's a way to spend the time and talk to people. It's a nice thing. But for the last opening, we couldn't really serve food or alcohol to people. So we snuck a bottle under the table, and once we were just a few, we took it out. But yeah, we look forward to going back to more, all the times.
Do you think, Tiziana, do you think we have time for one last quick question?
Sure.
Or we're at time?
No, we
so
can
maybe,
take one more question, yeah.
Maybe you want to just like quickly tell us what's next for Cartavetra, what you have, and for you, Pietro, what you're going to do in the near future.
Well, for the gallery, we were just talking about it. We live in certain times, so we don't really know. In September, we're gonna we continue this exhibition for a month. In October, we'll change it with it's a solo exhibition of Rosita La Grossa. She was one of the founders of Cartavetra, where now she's not quite involved in organization, but she still does exhibition with us. And she's say textile, painting, print artist, but she's her work is a mixed medium. It's about the female figure. It's quite provocative works. And after that, we might go to
double exhibition. Flavia Robalo.
Flavia.
Flavia Robalo is a sculptor. She works with wood. She's from Argentina, but she lives and works in Pietrasanta. And with her, we invite also a young artist from Milano, Cristiano Rizzo. For example, we discover Cristiano on Instagram.
Yeah, and he's one of those printmaker artists that we like because he does, he experiments.
And we organize also a artist residence with him here. And in this new exhibition, we show
the work
some of his work. And
he came in for 3-4 days. We printed together, and he produced this nice, beautiful work on a really thin paper, and we installed them in the front room for this exhibition. And then we might go to Verona Art Fair. That depends if we hope to go. Depends if they close it or not, because all the the world of art fair around the world is a bit collapsing right now because there's thousands of them.
Normally Verona is in October, but this year will be in December, but not sure. So we just
we hope,
and for the moment we are selected, so we are happy.
Yeah, we presented the project, elected, and now we have to wait and see.
Mr. COVID.
Yeah.
I think we really hope that happens for you, which probably means that we're like in a better place with this COVID thing, right? Thank you so much for like sharing your work and your background, and I hope that this like virtual call right now, it's a place where people can like connect. And so from the audience, if you still have questions for Brunella and for Pietro, we can share their contacts with you, and also more contacts that related to their work. And I hope that when you have time to like chance to travel to Italy, you can get to Florence and visit Cartavetra and see what's up in the gallery. In that moment, it would be really awesome. So thank you so much. We were very, very happy that we were able to make this connection. And we thank everybody for being here today with us on a Sunday morning or Sunday evening. See, some people from the audience are like really good dear friends from Italy, so it's nice for once to be connected like across the globe, because I live in Minnesota. So we have a next artist talk. It's going to be in September 20th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. 11 a.m. in Minnesota and 6:30 p.m. in Italy, and it will be with Benedetta Manfriani, who is a singer, but also an interdisciplinary artist, and she makes really amazing work, and with the MAD, the Murate Art District. You can find the registration info on the Italian Cultural Center website as you register today. So that's everything for me. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today with us. I think maybe Tiziana wants to just wrap up this talk, and maybe Giulia wants to say bye.
Well,
too, right?
On behalf of the Italian Cultural Center, I want to thank again, well, everyone for participating, and especially Brunella and Pietro for taking the time to share your work with us. And of course, Giulia and Zoe, thank you so much for curating these, events for the center. So it's been great working with you, and it will be great in the future as well. So thank you again.
It's interesting for you.
Great pleasure.
All right.
What can I say? Thank you for being here and all together. I'm really happy to be here and with all you.
Okay.
Happy
See
Sunday
you next
to
time. Yeah. Have a happy Sunday.
Yeah.
See you next time.
And if people want, can write us.
For any kind of information or anything, we're always open.
And your website is cartavetra.org. So, and we will share all the information again with everyone that participated today.
All right.
So,
Okay. That's great.
Pleasure.
Ciao.
All right.
Ciao.
Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.